I'd like to welcome you. If you want to just say your name and where you're calling from, if you unmute yourself, you can all do that.
Casper and Monique from the Netherlands.
Good evening, Casper. How are you?
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Don't know why I'm getting echo there, but...
Hi, CJ from Dublin.
Hi, CJ. Good to have you on the call.
Thank you.
Hi, Duncan. Eugene, South Africa.
Hi, Eugene. Love it.
Adrian from Edinburgh.
Hi, Adrian. Good to have you on the call.
Thank you.
Hi, Jamie from Mallorca in Spain.
Hi, Jamie. What's it like in Mallorca? Hot?
No, wet, windy and stormy.
Oh, it's the same as home.
Exactly.
Hi, Robert. How are you? If everybody would just like to say the name and where they're calling from as they come on the call, you can unmute yourself.
Hi.
Good evening, Emma.
How
Good to see you.
How are you?
I'm excellent, thanks. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Good.
Bernard from Ireland.
Hi, Bernard. Good evening, everybody. Just want to say your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, Kumani from South Africa. Hi, Duncan.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, man. Long time no speak.
Good to have you on the call from South Africa.
Hi, Duncan. It's Colin Simmons from Birmingham.
Mr. Simmons, how the devil are you?
I am fantastic, mate. Fantastic.
Good.
Yeah, this is Sean from Norway, and I've got my friend Teddy.
Who's on the call?
Teddy.
I am Cedric from Mauritius.
Hi. Good to have you on the call.
Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. If you want to just say your name as you come on the call and just let everybody know where you're calling from.
It's Martin from Steding in West Sussex.
Hi, Martin. Okay, 2 seconds and we shall start.
Evening, Duncan. How are you?
Good to have you on the call.
Good, mate. No problem, mate.
Okay, mute everybody and we shall begin. If you want to unmute yourself afterwards, you can do by just clicking the microphone signal. I can't unmute everybody. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody. My name's Duncan Wood. I live in North Wales. I've been making a full-time living online for about the last 10 years. Before that, I was in multi-level marketing. Like a lot of people, being let down by many a company, too many to mention. A few have been good, and that made me a really good living. But it was one of the hardest years I've experienced online, mainly because of companies either overstating, under delivering, or just literally having the rug pulled from underneath them with problems with payment processors and all that sort of thing. I actually heard about 50/50 literally just over a month ago now from a very good friend of mine, John Van Derzen in Canada. He sent me a video. I did watch it. I've got to admit I didn't watch it properly the first time, but when he messaged me back telling me that he'd been in this business for 16 days and had received over 56,000 in his bank, I don't know about you, but I had to call him and find out more. So I did, and I quizzed him, asked all sorts of questions, and came off that call and joined that night. I was having my tea, and I received a call from the other gentleman I sent half of the donation to. So half of the donation was sent to John, my sponsor, and half went to a guy I'd not met at that time, a guy called Joe, who also lived in Canada. When we spoke, Joe called me to thank me for sending the donation and introduced himself, and I started asking him questions like how long had he been in. He then told me that he'd only been in the same time as John. In fact, it turned out he had introduced John. And when I asked him, how he was doing, if I tell you he was earning slightly less than John, about 40 odd thousand, but still, 16 days. I don't know about you, but I've never heard of anybody earning that kind of an income in that short a time. So my feet literally haven't touched the ground since I started. It's incredible. It's probably one of the best businesses, if not the best business or system I've ever seen. So hopefully you have all watched the short video, the 8-minute video before you've come on this call. I would ask if you are inviting guests to make sure that they have watched that video before they come onto this call. We will go through a short presentation just to refresh you, and then we will have some questions and answers afterwards. So let me just share my screen first before I do. Yes. If somebody could just tell me if they can see this before I do.
Yeah, Duncan, yeah.
Just let me put it on record. Okay. And can everybody see the screen? I've forgotten, just bear with me a second. I've just forgotten to move that out of the way. Okay, can everybody see this okay?
Yep.
Brilliant. Okay, welcome to 50/50 crowdfunding. One of my questions I wanted to ask John when I first heard this, I've been involved in crowdfunding before, and it wasn't a good experience. I didn't earn anything. I also was a bit skeptical about hearing a matrix, but hopefully that will clear any doubt you have the same way as it cleared up all the doubt I had. Because this is different. It's different than any other crowdfunding system you have probably seen or heard of in the past. So welcome to 50/50 crowdfunding. 50/50 is the world's first crowdfunding system that allows you to receive half of everything that happens in your donation centers forever. Literally, it is a system where you donate, you share, and you receive. And you can carry on donating and you'll carry on receiving. As long as you keep doing that, you will carry on receiving. It's based on the world famous Mobius loop, and this is the one thing that I began to understand, which makes this very different from a lot of other matrices. This Mobius loop is a system where anybody you personally introduce follows you for life throughout any of the donation centers that you end up receiving from. So 50/50 crowdfunding is a system that provides help from above and below. So it's not just based on your own efforts. You will get help from above, and you will sometimes receive spill down from above. So you benefit from what happens above you, from people you personally introduce, and from obviously your own efforts. 50/50 crowdfunding is a peer-to-peer crowdfunding, and this is one of the main keys that attracted me to this immediately, because so many people have been let down by companies where their money's tied up with that company. If anything ever goes wrong, that's it. You can't get your money out. This does not rely on any company holding your funds. The only thing that the company takes is $29, which is the license fee, and that's paid once every 6 months. All the other funding is donations that are sent to you direct peer-to-peer. So when I heard that, this is exactly what I was looking for. 50/50 provides you with an easy to navigate, totally automated dashboard that allows everybody in real time, allows you to monitor your donations second by second as they come in. And it is literally, as I said, direct to your bank account or whichever method you choose to receive donations to. So how does it work? Well, it's 3 simple steps. First of all, as I said, you need to register through the link that your sponsor can send you. You pay $29 to the company. That is the only money that goes to the company. After that, you need to become an active donor. How does that work? Well, it's literally 50% of, as an example, the 250 level, which I'll talk about in a minute. Half goes to your sponsor and half goes to somebody that you'll drop into in a matrix. You have no control over that. Nobody can manipulate it. Nobody can fiddle it. It's just a very simple, very effective system. So basically, all you need to do from that point is introduce a minimum of 2 people. Now, of course, you can introduce more people. The more people you introduce, the faster this will happen. But the good thing is you don't even need to have to introduce people to receive donations. That is another plus about this whole system. So once you've introduced your first person and your second person, just help them do exactly the same, and then you will have 6 positions filled in your matrix. That is exactly the same throughout all the donation centers that you see, and it's what's called a cycle. So once you've filled those 6 places, whether it be from above, from you, or the people you've introduced, either way, that is what's classed as a cycle. So let's just go through that. 50% goes to you from every donation. There are 5 receiving centers, the 250, the 500, the 1,000, the 2,000, and the 4,000. Now you can come in with all 5 from day one if you want. My sponsor did. When I heard that, I, at the time, didn't have that kind of money. I wasn't prepared to invest that kind of money to start a business or a system. I asked him a question, so can I get to your level just by starting with the minimum 250? And he said yes. Now that's exactly what's happened. I've not put in any more than $250. I've now progressed up to the second level, the 500, the 1,000, and the 2,000. I'm just about to upgrade to the 4,000, and that is in just over a month. It's all been funded from that one time 250. That's all I've ever put in. So anybody can do this. You're not having to put your hand in your pocket. It literally is a system that generates you revenue to allow you to put some more back in to generate more donations. So at the 250 level, you receive a total of 6 donations of 125. So if once that's filled, that returns you a total of 750 minus the 20 of the 250 you started with. You can work out what you're up. Again, you can start then or upgrade at any point to the 500 level, so you'd have the 500 and the 250 running at the same time. You again receive 6 donations of 250 on this level, total of $1,500 in total once you fill those 6 places. Remember, it's not just you on your own. Again, at level 3, you can move up to the 1,000 level, so you'd have the 1,000, the 500, and the 250 all running together. Everybody has to start at the 250 level. You can't upgrade to the 500 directly. So you couldn't start at the 500 level example or the 1,000 level. You have to start at the 250 and move up to the 500 or the 1,000. But you can upgrade at any point. The 4th level is the 2,000 level. Again, 6 donations of 1,000 equals 6,000 total received. And the last one, 4,000 level, you receive a total of 6 donations, totaling 2,000 each, so that's 12,000. Now just work it out. If you had one person donating to you on each level each month, that's round about, I think it's 3,500 a month just from one person alone. Imagine if you had 2 or 3. So this is basically the same throughout each of those receiving centers. First of all, let's talk about the 250 level. You will receive 125 from the person that you introduce coming to you, and he would donate 125 to your sponsor. You introduce your second person, the same thing. 125 goes to you, 125 goes to the sponsor. So you're now on a total of 250. Now all you need to do is just work with those 2 people and help them introduce their first person. So 125 goes to the person that you first introduced, and 125 comes to you. Again, with the second person, help him introduce the first person. 125 goes to him, and 125 goes to you. And that just carries on until all 6 positions have donated, and you've received the total that you will receive on that donation center of 750 total. Now that same system works throughout each donation center as you move up. It's as simple as that. That's what I liked about this business, is that it's very simple. But there are questions people ask, and most of them are generally the same. Just let me stop sharing, and I can open up the mic if anybody has any questions they would like to ask. Please don't be shy. This is what this call is about. It's a questions and answers call, especially for the new people who might be sitting there probably spoken to their first person and probably had somebody ask them a question that they don't know about. Anybody going to be brave and ask their first question?
Duncan, I've got a question for you.
Fire away, Eugene.
One of my personal referrals, I see he's got an asterisk against his name, and he's made his donations and he has made his registration payment.
Okay.
He said it took a while for to reflect on his statement, but when he had a look after a while, the payment had gone, but the asterisk still remains next to his name.
Okay. I'm not sure. Has anybody tried to have him? What do they call it? Removed because he hasn't donated?
No, not at all. Look, he donated to me and he donated to somebody else, and both donations have been marked off.
Okay. And so you're just saying he's got an asterisk against his name?
He's got an asterisk against his name, and you know, I've seen somebody else also in one of my donation centers, completed donation centers, but that guy hasn't paid. So I know the reason for that, but I don't know why he's got an asterisk against his name.
Okay. Well, Eugene, if you message me his full name, his ID number, and the email address he used, I'll check it out for you just to find out what's gone on. But just while we're talking about that, just so people know, my advice is don't introduce anybody until they're ready to donate. In other words, that they have the money ready, because you are actually agreeing to be honest and ethical in the time scale that you send that donation. Because if you don't, unfortunately, you will be removed from the system. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, you have to be realistic here. There are some people that you'll be receiving or donating to that are abroad, and you might be in bed, you might be awake, but they might be asleep. So you have to give it a reasonable amount of time. And my advice is email that person if there's any issue, to ask them, you know, tell them that you're expecting a donation from them. As you know, you get an email to tell you that they are expecting to send, or that you should be receiving the funds, but you don't click that received button until you've actually received the funds. And if you don't receive them, what you need to do is email them and tell them, ask them if there's any problem, ask them if they've sent it already, because I had an issue the other day where I emailed the person. I hadn't received anything, but when I emailed him, he then said to me he'd already sent it. So I asked him, well, how have you sent it? Turns out it was through PayPal, and I hadn't received an email. When I logged into my PayPal account, he was correct. He had sent it. Now, there's a situation where you need to just communicate with the person that is sending you the donation, just to check that there's no glitch, or there's no misunderstanding. They might have sent it, which he had, and of course, as soon as he sent it, I confirmed that. So, but if somebody really doesn't, after maybe 1 or 2 days at the most, you do need to email the company with their details. All you need to do is give the full name, their ID number, and their email address, and they will be removed. Now, when they're removed, they stay on the system, they stay in the matrix. It doesn't affect your business. It doesn't affect anything other than the fact that you will not receive a donation for that one spot in that matrix. But remember, when that matrix is finished, that is the end of it. It goes and you start a new one, a fresh one. So you won't see that person again. And just so you know, the company are pretty fair. If that person wants to come back in, as long as they donate, they're allowed back into the system. So the good thing about this is nobody can fiddle it. As I said, the matrix fills from left to right automatically, whether it's come from above, from you, or anybody you've introduced. It literally fills left to right until it's full. So I hope that helps. Anybody else have any questions they want to ask?
Duncan, can you hear me?
Hi, Sean, yes.
Yeah, there's someone here just saying, Lenovo, can you just show the last slide again? That was the first question. Okay. And the second one is from Tom Inks, I think.
Yes, I know Tom. Hi, Tom. Tom, if you want to unmute yourself, you can do, but go on, Sean, just read out what.
Is there a way of getting people to sign up to you without having to ask friends or family? e.g. advertising online, anywhere else?
You can do. My advice is there's nothing better than speaking to people. I know there's people on here that are good at marketing online, but I don't know about you. I haven't. I've literally only put one post since I've started this online. Every person, practically 80% of them, 90% of them, I literally picked up the phone. I haven't moved out of my house. I haven't actually. Well, there's one person I did meet up with, but he is the only one. I literally did it by just calling people, having a chat with them, and asking them a question. And most people on this call know what that question is. I just literally say, listen, can you help me? I'm looking for people who want to make some serious money. Do you know anybody? And then shut up and wait for an answer. Now, if they say to me, I might be interested, what is it? All I do is I ask them for an email, send them a video. I ask them, when are they going to watch that video? And I will call them back one more time to see whether they've watched it. It's at that point you find out whether somebody is serious or not serious about making some serious money. Because if they've watched it, they generally, are, put it this way, they've jumped the first hurdle. If somebody comes back to me and says they haven't had time, all I do is I say, listen, I haven't got time to teach you. If you're serious about making some serious money, then watch that video and call me back if you want to know more. That's it. That's all I do. But you can market online, of course you can. I wouldn't depend on it because it's more difficult to speak to strangers. Let's face it, most of the people you meet online, you've never met, they don't know you, and you have to build up a relationship first. There's trust involved, and so I would recommend start off with people you know first. Hope that helps. What was that other question, Sean? Oh, the last slide. Okay, let me just bring that up again. Just let me share my screen a second. This slide here.
I'll have to...
Hold on a second. Let me just go back a bit.
Yeah.
While you do that, Duncan, I've got a question for you.
Yeah, go on.
Yep, the question of the legality of what we're doing. People think it's a Ponzi.
Okay, I shall run through that in a minute. Okay, so there's your first position. You introduce two people, 125 comes to you. Every time somebody donates, half goes to the person that introduced you, and half goes to somebody that you will drop below in your matrix. Now, you have no control over that. You could have dropped or introduced one person yourself, and then somebody from above happens to drop below that person. And what do they have to do? They have to send half the donation to you and half to the donation to the person they've dropped underneath. And that basically just carries on until each person has donated. Once each person has donated, you will have received a total of $750.
Thank you.
My advice is to go and watch that video 2 or 3 times. Once you understand this system, it is the most simple system I think I've ever seen. And it really is amazing what, let me just stop going again. Hope that helped whoever asked. But my advice is go and watch that video a few times and it starts to make sense. The one amazing thing about this is a lot of people ask this question is, do I have to introduce more than 2? You don't have to. You can actually have just 2 people, and they will move up. As you move up each level, they follow you right through every donation center, right the way up. But if you want to speed it up, my advice is don't depend on 2 people. Help those 2 people get 2 people and go and introduce more people yourself. The more people you introduce, the faster you'll see it happen. And not only that, by you introducing people, by you being active, you're actually helping the people you introduced first, because where are those people going to drop underneath the first people that you introduced? What happens? Those people send the people you first introduced a donation and you receive a donation. It's a win-win situation for everybody. Anybody else got any questions? Oh, Colin, you asked about legality. Was somebody specifically asking about that, or were you just bringing that up as a
It's a general question that I have to answer every day. So
okay.
Well,
let me just tell you my experience. I knew crowdfunding was totally legal, but like everything, the first person I spoke to, who is a good friend of mine, said something to me which made me doubt my own judgment. He said, crowdfunding is legal. And I thought, is he right? Is he wrong? I knew he was wrong, but I just wanted to be confident myself. So I phoned up a friend of mine who's a solicitor. I asked him a question. I said, could you help me? I think I know the answer, but could you just tell me what is the legality of crowdfunding? He actually said to me, what type of crowdfunding is it? I told him it's peer-to-peer. He came back to me 2 days later with a brief report on the different types. And I can tell you categorically that peer-to-peer crowdfunding is totally legal in every country in the world. Now, there is another gentleman that joined our business just a week or so ago. He went to his own lawyer and asked him the same question, expecting that the lawyer would come back and say, don't touch it with a barge pole. And the lawyer came back and said, absolutely, totally, including the matrix. Now, this is where a lot of people get confused. You'll hear people say, oh, that's a pyramid. Well, yes, it might look like a pyramid, but it's called an illegal pyramid. The only reason people say that is because they don't understand the difference between illegal and legal pyramid selling. And a matrix is just it looks like a pyramid, yes, but it is totally legal in this system and in every country in the world, because the reason is no funds go to the company. If they did, then it would be illegal. But none of the funds, none of the donations people are sending even touch the company. The only money that goes to the company is the $29. And that's the only money the company makes, and that's once every 6 months. So I hope that helps. Colin, I know, did somebody mention something about a Ponzi? If somebody does mention a Ponzi to you, the first thing I would say to them is, can you explain to me what a Ponzi is? Because I'll tell you this, every person that's ever said that to me, they're stumped when I ask them to explain to me what a Ponzi is. They've heard it from a friend. They don't understand exactly what it is. They've heard it's illegal, and yes, Ponzi's are illegal, and this is definitely not a Ponzi, and this is definitely not a MLM business. It is crowdfunding. It's totally different. It's a system that's been used thousands of years. Do your own research, go online, type it in. You'll actually see that crowdfunding in the last couple of years has grown worldwide by 80%. Now, why is that happening? The reason is because the banking system is failing us. You've only got to see what's going on in the world with regards to the banks. They're scamming people. You know, if anybody wants to understand a Ponzi, go and look at the monetary system we have, because that is a Ponzi. Go and have a look at the pension funds that people pay into. That is a Ponzi, because what's happening now, the baby boomers are all getting to the point of retiring, and there's less and less people paying into the pension fund. That is a Ponzi. This is nothing like a Ponzi. This is a system where people donate, and they keep donating to keep receiving. As long as they keep donating, they keep receiving. And as I said to somebody, why would anybody turn off the tap that's dripping or feeding them with income coming in? They're not going to stop donating. And even if they do, there's plenty of people coming in who want to donate to receive. So I mean, as I asked John, and everybody knows the owner of this company, he's not new to this system. He's actually run a company for 16 years. It's still running to this date. He did sell it out, but it's still running. It's a company called G1G4. And 16 years later, it's generated over $1 billion revenue, and it has over 660,000 members. There's one member who started at 60. He only donated, I think it was $100, and he's still receiving 16 years later. Now, the owner reckons that this is it's going to grow 10 times bigger than his previous company. So, you know, if anybody thinks that this isn't going to last, I'm sorry, you need to understand what's going on here. and then you'll realize it's totally sustainable for years and years and years. In fact, the owner believes we'll all be dust before we even get to see whether it ends. So I hope that helps. Anybody else got any questions? If nobody's got any questions, is there anybody that
do you have any question to ask?
Yeah, hi, Mohammed.
No, I'm saying, Susan, maybe she have questions to ask. Nasreen, do you have any questions?
Sorry, Mohammed, say that again.
I'm saying maybe they do have questions to ask. They're not asking.
Well, if anybody wants to ask a question, you've got two options. You can either type it in the message, the chat box, or you can unmute yourself. And to do that, on the bottom of your screen, if you hold your cursor there, you'll see the microphone. Just click it and it will unmute you, and you're welcome to come on. If you do unmute yourself, if you can just make sure you've got no background noise.
Duncan, this is Darlene.
Hi, Dar.
This is Darlene in Florida.
Hi, Darlene.
I have a question for one of the people that is seriously interested, not joined yet. She's doing some other MLMs, and she's asking me if she were to join and do her first 2 donations and then also sign up 2 people.
Yes.
And doesn't really promote it more than that. Is there any that you know that has done that and not really, signed up more people? And
well, the main thing you've got to realize is, yes, you can go out. She can go out and introduce 2 people, but you do need to help those people do the same. Okay, so the idea is to work with those people and help them introduce 2 people. Now, everybody on this call, I don't care, I've heard people say to me, they don't know many people. Everybody knows loads of people. The problem is, this is the main problem, it's psychology. Most people will do a list, if they ever do one, of people they think would be interested. And that's where the problem is. Because what happens is, most people know at least 2,000 people, or will have done by time they get to middle age. The problem is they don't do a list because they do a list of people they think would be interested.
Right.
You cannot prejudge in this business. I mean, we've got some very successful business people involved in this business. A lot of people say, oh, that person doesn't need any money. Listen, anybody that's watched Dragon's Den in the UK with some very wealthy, successful, top British business people understand one thing. What do they do all the time? Invest money into new businesses, other businesses, because that's what you do in business. Once you're making money, then you invest it in other businesses. That's the smart way of making money. Make money work for you. So don't prejudge anybody. Just ask anybody to do you a favor. Can they help you? Ask them a question. Can they help you? Do you know anybody that wants to make some serious money? They will only come back with 2 answers. One might be, and this is the one you hope, yes, I might be interested. What is it? Now, this is where people make the mistake. They think because somebody says, what is it, that you have to now explain it. You're just going to dig yourself a deep hole that you can't get out of by doing that. All you need to do is send an email with a video. Let them watch the video, test them to see if they'll even watch it first, and just call them back one time to ask them, did they watch it? That's it. It's so simple. And I don't believe anybody doesn't know somebody who could do with some extra money. Maybe they've got into debt. Maybe they've lost their job. Maybe they could just do with some extra money. Everybody knows somebody that has a reason to earn some extra money. This business is about helping people. The more people you help, the more you will receive.
Thank you very much.
Hope that helps.
Yes, thank you.
But yes, you can, in theory, just introduce 2 people, but then you do need to remember, sponsoring somebody, you need to take responsibility. That's what it means. Take responsibility of helping those 2 people, get 2 people at least. Once you've done your job, then you can sleep at night and know that you've done your job. Now, you can't make people do it. It's up to them. In the end, don't rely on any spill down. Just treat it like you would any business. The consistency. The biggest problem is most people get started and they start off well and then they slow down and then they forget about it. If you ran your own business, you wouldn't wake up one day and say, well, I'm not going to go in today. You have to go in, whatever. That's your business. This is your business. Treat it like a business and it will reward you like a business. It is literally as simple as that. So just be consistent and persistent sometimes, because just because somebody says no doesn't mean to say they're going to say no in a couple of months' time. Remember, I actually rejected this first. I watched that video. I didn't call back for a week. So, just because somebody says no now doesn't mean to say it's no forever. Circumstances change in everybody's lives.
Yes, thank you. Very good points.
Yeah. Well,
Duncan.
Listen. Yeah, hi.
Sorry, I just want to ask, if I may ask, what's your account like at the moment?
I love it. Okay. Well, let me tell you, I started literally, I lose track of days now, but it's just over a month. So I think it's about 33 days ago. I've only outlaid $250 of my own pocket. And I actually have in the bank, I have received just under 28,000.
That's fantastic.
I know it is. Tell me about it. Now,
maybe you'd like to share it with us.
Listen, I can't believe it myself. I really can't.
Well, well done. Well done,
listen,
you.
I'm not the only one. There's other people on this call right now. In fact, talking about that. Is anybody brave enough just to unmute yourself and just give a brief testimonial of what you have achieved to date? Colin?
Yeah, when are you throwing a party?
Sorry?
When are you throwing a party?
Listen, I have got a goal. I mean, talking about people's circumstances changing, if you'd have asked me the question a year ago of whether I'd be interested in this system, I'd have probably said no. Why? Because everything was fantastic. I had more money coming in than I'd earned for a long time, but that changed. Last year it changed. Suddenly things turned round. And that happens sometimes for reasons totally out of our control. It could be, look what's happening in the world right now with all the uncertainty, especially in the UK with Brexit and what's going on in the rest of the world. It all affects everything these days because it's a global market nowadays. So one country suddenly changes or adapts something, or something happens in a country and it can affect every country. So
Duncan, the GDP states that next year by March, every household the expense will go up to £1,000 extra.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know about you, but if you watch what's going on in the world, we've just experienced quite recently one of the worst banking crises in history. Now, if anybody's thinking that's not going to happen again, believe you me, it's going to happen again, but bigger and worse than it was last time. So get yourself prepared for it, because it is going to happen. Because the banks are still up to their old tricks. Now, this is what I see with this kind of system. This is why it's so popular, because you can't rely on banks anymore. Businesses are being put out of business because banks won't loan them any money anymore. Because the system is corrupt, it's being manipulated, and it's crumbling. And people are looking for alternatives. And this is a perfect alternative for people to raise funds for whatever reason they need it to be. And the nice thing is, you haven't got a bank in the middle. You're not sending money through a bank to another person. It's going from you direct to that person, straight into their bank account, whether it be in Bitcoin, whether it be through PayPal, whether it be Bankwire, it doesn't matter. Either way, it's your money. Once you receive it, and you can do what you want with it. Brilliant way.
Yeah, Duncan, a few questions coming in. Quint, I think Cedric, you'd like to ask a question.
Yes, hi everybody. Yes, I have a question. For example, if I introduce one person in my first loop,
yes,
okay, and when I finish my loop of six person,
yes,
can the second person follow me in my second loop even though he has not finished his first loop.
As soon as he's finished, this is the whole point, Quint. As soon as that person has finished his cycle, so in other words, his matrix, he then appears directly in your next matrix automatically. This happened with Colin. Are you on the call here? I think he is.
Yeah,
I introduced Colin Simmons, and Colin doesn't mess around. I know that. And no sooner did he watch the video at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but the next minute he's asked me to arrange a call with a couple of people. Well, he ended up, I think there were about 10 people on the call, wasn't there, Colin?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And by 8 o'clock that night, the same day, Colin, who had just dropped into my first matrix because I introduced him, had completed his first matrix. Now, then I suddenly, well, this is where the penny dropped. Suddenly I called you, Colin, didn't I? It was, I said to you, Colin, it looks like you've registered again. And you said, I haven't done anything, I'm out. And then I suddenly realized, and Colin said, it automatically puts you back in the matrix. And of course, what did he have to do again to start that new matrix? He had to donate. What does he do? Half donation goes to me again. Remember, he just paid, donated to me the same donation the same day. So in one day, one person I'd introduced had already sent me 125 and was now about to send me another 125. And the reason why he could do that is because he had received 750 in total in one day from an outlay of 250. Wow.
Wow.
So the answer to your question, Quincy, is yes. Anybody that you personally introduce follows you into every matrix, right the way up.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions anybody has?
Sorry, Duncan.
Hello.
Yes, it's Clement speaking from South Africa. I just want to actually want to hear when you finish the first line up, maybe the 125 that you're going to contribute with.
Yes.
So when you follow the second, maybe you just finish the first line and then you want to go to the second one. So what would happen? Are you actually, do you have to contribute to your sponsor again, or just continue doing the same thing as the first, or how does it go?
Well, it depends what happens. I mean, if your sponsor is active, then you might see some people drop into your matrix that you've never even seen or knew. And but if you are active, then obviously that helps and leads the whole system up. So the answer to your question is you don't have to keep recruiting. If you just work with the 2 people that you've introduced, as I said before, and help them introduce 2 people, you'll have 4 more that have come from the 2 that you've personally introduced. You see what I mean? And then work with those people. So you can, but my advice is if you want it to speed up, introduce as many people as you want. The way I look at this is, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me, when you find something that's really good, and this is not just really good, this is exceptional, right? What do you want to do? You want to tell everybody about it. Now, fortunately, people are people. People will find every reason and every excuse why they don't do it. I mean, it's like when people say, you know, it's illegal. Well, why don't they go and research first and find out? I had a lady call me and somebody had found something negative online. Well, listen, I don't care what anybody says. If you go and type in, is Mother Teresa a scam? You go and see what you'll find, because somebody somewhere will write something negative about everything. You'll find it. Now, the problem is, and that's fine if people find it, but they've just heard one side of the story. If you're going to investigate and do your due diligence properly, my advice is when you've found that negative, whatever it is, go and then find out the facts yourself properly first. Go and ask questions, because when you understand this, you'll realize that this is the most honest, ethical system you could ever get involved with. And nobody really is going to lose anything. Well, put it this way, the only way of losing something is if you do absolutely nothing and it just happens that your sponsor does absolutely nothing as well. and the only risk is $250. That's it. So
okay.
the way I look at it is that's like any business. You know, I've joined businesses and put thousands of my money into it. The risk here is $29 to the company and $250. If you're not prepared to work and you think you can't introduce somebody, you know what they say: if you think you can't, you're right, and if you think you can, you're right. You can convince yourself of anything.
Duncan, another question.
Yeah, fire away.
It's from Tom. It says, what is your guys' take on the longevity of this? It seems that this depends on new people constantly paying in more money. There doesn't seem to be any value created other than you receiving money.
You're absolutely incorrect, Tom. Basically, what you've got to realize here is everybody, including myself. I mean, let me just mute everybody because somebody has got some noise in the background. I don't know who it is. Just 1 second. Okay. The answer to your question, Tom, is this. When I started, I donated $250. Okay. Now, ask me, I have now received, as I said on the call tonight, around about $28,000. Okay. Now, how did I get that amount? Because I had to keep donating. So the question to ask, it's no different than asking a company, what's your turnover? Turnover is vanity, profit sanity. You know, I've heard many a company, people on Dragon's Den as an example, where they're asking them what their turnover is, and it might be 2 million, and then they ask them a question, so what profit have you made? And some of them haven't even made any profit, and yet they've turned over 2 million. You know, the answer to your question, Tom, is I've actually donated about 9,000 back into the system. That's $9,000 that's been donated to other people who are involved in this system. Now, if I stop donating at any time, and I can if I want, if I decide that's it, I've had the income I want, I could stop donating tomorrow, and that's one less person donating back into the system. But is anybody likely to do that? Well, to me, it's like, you know, somebody that says in any business, what happens if people stop buying products in a shop? That business is going to fail. I know, Tom, you're in the golfing business. If you don't sell products, your shop's going to shut down. If people don't come and pay to join the golf club, then that business is going to end. It's pretty logical. As long as people are receiving donations, then they're going to carry on paying, donating back into the system. It's a completely self-funding system. And yes, we do want new people, of course we do. You know, let me just give you an example. When I joined, there were 500 people in this business. Now, well, the last count I heard was 6,000. It's probably about 8,000, I would imagine. And come next weekend on Super Saturday, I reckon that's probably going to double. So is it going to last? Listen, nobody can guarantee anything. Nobody can. There's no such thing as a guarantee. In life, you just have to make the most and of when a good thing happens, and get in while you can, and make as much money as you can, and use that money wisely to invest in other things, just in case something happens beyond your control. But let me tell you this is not going to get shut down, because nobody can stop anybody donating from one person to another. And the way I see this, I can see so many people's lives are being changed in such a short period of time in this. There's some amazing stories around from people. You know, I spoke to a guy the other day. I don't know him. Somebody asked me to call him. He was 80 years old. When I got talking to him, I could tell he was... there was something not right. And I asked him a question, and he said to me, I don't sleep at night. And I said, do you mind me asking why? And he then told me, he said, I'm in debt. I said, do you mind me asking how much debt? He said, £8,000. And he said, I've been trying to pay it off for the last 10 years. Now, I don't know about you, but that is sad that somebody who's 80 years old, who had to go and take some money out on a credit card, And this is what he said to me: I've been trying to pay it off for 10 years. He's not earning enough money to pay that debt off because the interest the banks are charging him just keeps him trapped in the system. And because of that, he can't sleep at night. Here's a system that can totally turn that around. Literally, not in years, not in months, literally in days, if you're prepared to do something. Simple as that. Just while we're there, if there's anybody on the call that just wants to come on, open up your mic and just tell them what you've experienced in the short time you've been in it. And I know nobody's on this call that's been in it longer than me. So, anybody want to open up their mic and just give a quick testimonial of your experience?
Duncan, good evening. Noel, how are you?
Hi, Noel. Good to have you on.
You too, mate. I came into this a week after you, obviously. I'm in a month on Thursday, this Thursday. I'm seeing another 2 people in the morning, and when they pretty much are putting in, I will hit the 5-figure sum also, right? I've actually donated about $3 grand. I put in $250 to start, and again, what I'm telling you, when I tell people, I put them together, 3 or 4 of them, I say, do you want your own business for $280? In our language, it's €250. They say, why? How? I tell them it's $29 for 6 months as a member, and it's $250 to join. You, and you, the 4 of you. I just want to sign you 2, and then you sign those 2, and then you sign another 2. That's 6 of us there now at the moment, plus me, sorry, 7. And now we have 7 people with their own business for $250, and if we just replicate what we are doing, within 6 weeks, you will not offer money again.
Yeah. So you mentioned the other night that there was 2 people that just come in that have lost their businesses recently.
Yes, that's right.
Just tell people that story.
Yeah, basically, they had a carpentry business, and they were working in a gym, and they fit this gym out, and they were owed €75,000 off the person that got them to do the job. While they were on the job, after buying the materials and everything else, and paying their wages over 6 weeks or so, this company went belly up, went bankrupt, thanks to the bank as usual. And this guy went, and so did these people. These 2 people, one and the partner went. And he said it to me, and he said, we lost it. And I said, okay, I can put you in here now for €250 each. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put your 250 in and your 250 in. All I need you to do is get 2 each, end of story. They've now made more money in 3 weeks than they did in their own business in 3 months. And now they have their own business, and they're meeting people again this week. And I will be with them, and I will help them. And if I don't help them, I won't be receiving and making donations. And I want to do that. And again, you get over what you put into it. End of story. If you want to stop, you stop. I can stop now, and I would safely say I'm 6,000 richer. Definitely.
Exactly. You can literally.
I want to stop. Why should I stop? It's impossible.
Well, exactly. I mean, listen. I cannot understand anybody even wanting to stop, but put it this way, you can, it's your choice. You could literally cycle once, you donated $250, you have to donate to receive, and you can literally, I mean, there are people on this call who didn't introduce anybody. I've got one lady who I introduced one evening. She was working, she was up to her eyes in it. She registered, she went to bed, woke up in the morning, hadn't introduced anybody, and received $750 in her bank account. She hadn't introduced or told anybody. Now, that is brilliant. I don't know about you, but I don't know any business where you can join, not do anything, and receive. Now, I wouldn't depend on that. It happens to about 75% of people. But this way, there's people that didn't receive it maybe in the first 2 or 3 days, but did receive something a week later. At some point, you will receive something, but again, the system's designed to allow that to happen to you once, but then you have to do something. You have to introduce at least 2 people. That's it.
But we had a flashback again the other day in CJ's house. He's on the call here at the moment under the name Owner. Don't ask me why he's under the name Owner. He'll never listen. But anyway, we signed a lady up the other day for his wife. Sonia ready. Sonia put in that $250. I said, now, CJ, you and your wife will more than likely get $125 each because she's under your wife and your wife is under you. So he said, oh, just that sounds right. I said, well, Lucille, your wife will 100% get 125% because she gets 50% of what this lady is putting in because she's a direct. We put the $250 in and went into Lucille's account, and yes, Sonia owed her $125. We went into CJ's account, and no, he wasn't getting $125. But the girl I signed up in Australia 3 weeks ago, the day I joined, got $125. This girl is still in Australia on holidays, put $250 in the day she went, hasn't done a thing since she went, and I'm slagging her every day, and she's got $675 in donations, hasn't put a cent in except the $250 she started with. Didn't sign anybody, and she's after getting 5 donations.
Thanks, Noel. Appreciate you coming on. Anybody else want to just have a quick word before we tie up for the night and finish?
Yeah, I'm here, mate. Colin Simmons.
Hi, Colin. Go ahead.
Mate. Yeah, I think you introduced me probably 2 days after you joined, or a day after, something like that.
It was literally 2 days later. Yes.
2 days later. So I was busy in multi-level marketing, trying to earn some money like everybody else is. Duncan called me up and said, "Colin, you need to stop what you're doing. You need to have a look at what's just landed on my desk." And because it was Duncan, I said, "Okay, I'll do that. I'll have a look." And I was blown away with what he showed me. And what I was most interested in was the opportunity to earn an income or receive funds instantly. You know, because that was a thing that was really missing in all I was doing. Everything else takes time and time and time. This was something, if I got it going right, I know I could receive instantly. So I said to him, "Okay, what I want to do is what you just showed me. I want you to show that to about 4 or 5 people later today." And that's exactly what we did. All 4 or 5 people that saw it said, "I'm in." They all joined straight away. So that's how I was able to cycle to receive 6 donations of 125 all in the same day. So for me to receive $750 instantly, that's like nothing I've seen before in all my years of multi-level marketing. Never seen results like that. So all I've done is I've just consistently spoke to people every single day, and I've probably been in, how long's it been? 5 weeks or something like that?
It's literally about 33 days.
About 33 days of constantly talking to people every single day. I won't stop. This is too valuable for me not to share with people. Now, I spent $250 out of pocket when I started. And it's $250 that I couldn't afford to lose, to be honest with you, when I started. But I knew that I had to get to work, and I had a good chance of getting it back. Now, I look at my account today. In those 30-odd days, I have actually donated $8,250 to people all across the globe. And every single dollar has gone directly to that person all across the globe. I've received in those 30-odd days $17,375 in 30-odd days. Fantastic. I've never seen anything like this business that we're all involved in here. It's a complete new industry. It will replace multi-level marketing. I honestly believe that. It's all built because of social media and the internet, people helping people all across the globe. It's a very big deal.
And Colin, can I finish off in saying, when we first spoke, I asked you a question. I said to you, "Colin, can you tell me, how are you doing financially, honestly?" And what did you say to me?
I said I was struggling. I've got bills to pay, so much to do. I've got all these great projects that are going to pay me, but I need the money. I need income today. I've got bills to pay today.
And the crazy thing is, I phoned you a week later and said, "This is mad. Do you remember that conversation we had?" And I said to you, "I'm going to help you." And I said to you, "All that seems to happen is you keep sending me more donations." And the whole reason is, the reason why he can afford to send me donations is because he keeps receiving more than he's donating.
Every single time you cycle, you start again. So I'm donating again, and one of my donations goes to my sponsor. The nice thing that we also say is, because of the Morbius loop, I remember that first time when I cycled, I got placed back into your network again, and I landed underneath somebody that just started.
Yeah, and you
donated to that. Started. Yeah, didn't really know much what was going on. Had me underneath them, and I donated to that person. And obviously my team then followed me. So that person did very well on that cycle. So then I cycled again, and I probably ended up underneath somebody else. So it's a really fair system. So for those that actually haven't had much spillover or spill under, don't worry, just keep going, because it will come round. It comes around in cycles. There you go.
Thanks, Colin. Appreciate you and all the effort you're doing. Just, is there any other questions before we wrap up and finish? Just so everybody knows, there is a gentleman, I don't know whether Ray's on tonight, but Ray will be doing a call at 11 o'clock, 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. That call will be for people in the UK. If you want to jump on that call, if you've got anybody that can't get on the 8 o'clock call as an example, but it's mainly for people in America. So if you know anybody in America, just so you know, Colin runs a presentation every day. Apart from Colin, is there one day you don't do it? I can't remember now.
Usually it's Sunday afternoon. I'll take that day off, that time off.
Okay. But Colin runs that 11 o'clock in the morning. That's mainly for the UK people and people in Australia. And then this Saturday coming, we have what's called a Super Saturday, where the Americans will be running presentations every 2 hours, and they'll be in every language you could probably imagine. They'll be listing all the languages. So if you know anybody in China, as an example, there'll be one in Chinese, French for the French, Spanish for the Spanish, Italian for the Italian. So think about who you know around the world. If you want them on a call, with that call in their language so they can understand it, with questions and answers as well, that'll be done every 2 hours right throughout the day. So take advantage of it. All these will be posted in the Facebook group, in the 50/50 chat, and also we've got the WhatsApp chat as well. So if anybody wants to keep themselves up to date with information that's going on, get your people added onto those groups, and all the information is there. There's the letters there from lawyers and solicitors to show that this is absolutely real, it is genuine, it is totally legal, it's going to carry on with or without you. It's up to you. Find out, understand about crowdfunding, and especially peer-to-peer crowdfunding. Do your own research. Don't let anybody convince you that this is not here to stay or it's illegal, because unfortunately, people love to give an opinion, often of something they know nothing about because they haven't done their own proper research. My advice is go and do your research, convince yourself. Don't let somebody else convince you. Once you know, and you'll have unstoppable belief. It is the most exciting thing I have ever seen, ever. And I know I'm not the only one. Well, how many people are on the Facebook room? I think at the last time I looked, it was over 600 people have come into that Facebook room, and we only put that up, I think, a week after we started. Unbelievable what's happening. So don't let this pass you by. Make the most of it. And thanks for your everybody listening tonight. And we'll have another call tomorrow night, exactly the same time. And Colin has one at 11 o'clock, and there's another one tonight at 11 o'clock tonight. Thanks very much, everybody. I'm going to unmute everybody if you want to say good night. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Duncan.
Thank you very
good
much.
Night now.
Good night. Good night.
Cheers, Duncan. Catch you tomorrow, buddy. Cheers, mate.
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody.
You're all unmuted. Good night.
Give it.